Hello everyone, today I'm going to be showing you how to make a jelly of any size. They sell extremely well at markets, and I'm just going to work on the size that I find sells the best at markets, but I will show you how to continue it and make it into any size you would like. First off, you're gonna need your yarn. You can pretty much make this pattern in any yarn. I use a lot of this one, especially for the size that I sell the best at markets. Adorable, any color. This is the peekaboo if you like that one. Today I am using the purple just to show you because I feel like it shows better on the camera. I don't remember the exact name of this purple, but it is near like the baby colors, because usually in Hobby Lobby they have 2 rows that have the fluffy yarn, and one will be like baby colors and then the other one will be like darker colors. Excuse my nails, they're just acrylic overlay today. So you're gonna need safety eyes. These are the ones I'm going to be using. I couldn't remember which back it was, so I have both just in case. I get these on Amazon, super cheap. You're going to need some fluff for this size. I literally just take about a handful. I want it to be still squishy. A darning needle, mine's curved. You definitely don't need a curved one. You actually don't even need a darning needle. If you have them, you probably know how to use them. I will show you both ways in this video, because you can also just use your hook. And I'm using a 4.5 millimeter today and some scissors. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start off with a slip knot, or not a slip knot, sorry, a magic ring. And if you don't know how to make a magic ring, it's super, super easy. First, you're gonna take it like you're making a slip knot. I kind of did that backwards. Okay, you're gonna take it like you're making a slip knot. You're gonna start off like this. This is the easiest way I found for beginners. I actually have a video on TikTok on how to do this. You're gonna loop it around like it looks like a pretzel. You're gonna pull that middle loop up so it looks like that. Okay, once it looks like that, you're going to start to pull a little bit. You can actually make that area a little bit smaller. But like that, you want to keep this loop. You're going to put your hook into the middle loop, and you're going to hold it like this. You want to work over your tail. You're going to yarn over and just create a chain. So I'll show you that again, and I'll show you the difference. So slip knot, you're just doing, I just do it backwards when I'm not actually holding it. Okay, a slip knot, you're literally doing the same thing. You're pulling up the loop in the middle, but instead of pulling it tight to where it creates a knot, you're going to create your slip knot and keep that middle part that becomes a knot open. I guess that's why people like find it so hard to make a, and then you just make a chain, and that like kind of seals your magic ring. People find it so hard to make a magic ring, and I guess they just don't understand that's literally a slip knot that's not closed. So you're gonna work along both your tail and your ring. And it doesn't matter if you need to make it super big just so you can like grab onto it and stuff, that's fine. It doesn't really matter. You're gonna start by working 6 single crochet into your magic ring. So for a single crochet, you go under the loops, or under the yarn, pull up a loop like this, yarn over and pull through both of them. So that's 4, 5, and 6. So So once you have your 6 single crochet onto your unfinished slip knot, which is going to be your magic ring, you then take your tail and you just pull it. And when you do that, that is making the knot of the slip stitch. So it closes your magic ring. I've never really heard anyone explain it like that, but it is essentially the same exact thing as a slip knot, just you don't finish it. So then we're going to chain 1. And then our next row is going to be all increases. So you're going to do 2 single crochet into each stitch, and that'll make 12 around. So 2 single crochet in each stitch. Going to do that all the way around. And again, today I'm going to show you the size that I find sells really good at markets, because a lot of the markets I go to, people don't really want to buy humongous things. But I'm also going to tell you how to continue it to make it bigger. Okay, so now we have 12. For the next row, we're going to go 1 single crochet, increase, 1 single crochet, increase, and we should end up with 18 stitches all the way around. So you're going to go into that first stitch, which is the one that we slip stitched into, and you're going to single crochet, and then you're going to do 2 single crochets into the next. So we got our single crochet and then our increase. So our next stitch would be 1 single crochet and then an increase. And you're going to do that all the way around. So I'm going to continue that and meet you back here. Okay, so I'm back all the way around, finish round 3. So I have 18 single crochet all the way around. This is going to be my last row of increasing for this size. So this one is going to be 2 single crochet. So just 1 single crochet in the first 2 stitches. And then the third stitch will be an increase. So again, 1 single crochet in the next 2 stitches. And then an increase. I did that wrong spot. That's my bad. 1, 2, and then an increase. You're going to do that all the way around so that you have 24. And I'm just going to take a second. Right here, this is what we have so far. This is for the size that we're making. So you're going to do 6 single crochet in the magic ring. You're going to increase all the way around on row 2. Single crochet into the first stitch and then increase, and you're going to keep doing that all the way around to get 18. And then row 4 is the 2 single crochet and increase. That's the row that we're on, and that one gives you 24. So if you want to continue and make a really big one, you're going to keep going. So row 5 would be 3 single crochet and then increase, and that would make 30. And then you're just going to keep doing that. So the next one would be 4 single crochet, increase, and that would equal 36. 5 single crochet, increase, and that would equal 42. And you would keep going and going and going until you get the size that you want. But for this size, we're just going to finish on this row. So continue around doing 2 single crochets and then an increase. Okay, so then we're going to slip stitch back to the end. So now that we're at this part, we're going to, instead of be working to make our jelly bigger, or its head bigger, we're going to be working downwards to make it like round out. So this is a really easy trick so that I know for any size how many rows of single crochets to do down. So if you look from the top, we have 24, so that's 4 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4. That would mean we're going to do 4 rows of just single crochets. So that's why I labeled the rows. So let's say you do 7 rows to 42. So your project's going to be big. And then you're like, oh, how many rows do I do of just single crochets to get this size? It would be however many rows you've done. So 42 would be 7 rows. You're going to do 7 more rows of just single crochets. And that goes for pretty much any size. And what's really fun and like versatile about this pattern, say you want them to be short and chunky, you can lessen the amount of rows of just single crochets that you do. Or if you want it to be like a really tall and skinny jelly, you could do more rows. It's really all up to you, but just for a basic rule of thumb, however many rows of increasing you do, so 6, 12, 18, 24, that's 4 rows. I'll do 4 rows of single crochet in each stitch. So when we get done with the 4 rows, we should still have 24 single crochet. And what this does, it just builds it downwards instead of out. So I'm going to go ahead and finish those 4 rows, and then I will meet you back here. Okay, so I just finished my 4th row. At this point, it should look almost like you have a little beanie hat. And I did go ahead and grab this in case I needed more of it. So you could see the color is Sugar Plum if you like that purple. So then what we're going to do, after you get your 4 rows done, or however many rows to get to the size that you're making, I then into the front loops only. So when you turn your work sideways, you see there's this bar and then there's this bar. The front loops is this one in the front. So we're working only into that front loop, and the first one's a little bit tight, but the rest of them you should be able to go into no problem. So you're working only into that front loop, and you're going to do all into this first stitch. You're going to do 1 single crochet and 2 half double crochets. So if you're not familiar with a half double crochet, what you do is you yarn over, you go through that loop and pull up. So you have 3 loops on your hook, so almost like you're making a double crochet, but instead of pulling through 2 and then pulling through 2 again, you're just going to pull through all 3, and that makes a half double crochet. And then in the next front loop, you're going to do a slip stitch. So if you're not familiar with a slip stitch, I'll go ahead and show you another one. You go into your loop, you pull up, and instead of yarning over and pulling through like you would for a single crochet, you're just going to go straight through. Okay, so now we're going to repeat what we just did. So into the front loop only, it's a single crochet, 2 half doubles, then into the next stitch, it's a slip stitch. So single crochet, 2 half doubles into that same stitch, and then into the next one is a slip stitch. You want to make sure you're pulling your slip stitch a little tight, and repeat that again. So a single crochet, 2 half double crochets, and into the next stitch a slip stitch. And this will be the same. This makes the little ruffle around the bottom. This will be the same no matter what size you're making. Now if you're making one so big that it is just ginormous and you feel like the half double crochets are not big enough for the little ruffle, if it ends up being that big, what you can do then is do your single crochet and then 2 doubles instead of 2 half doubles, and that just adds, see the difference in height? That just adds some extra height. So if your project is that big where you just need that little extra bit of height for the ruffles on the bottom, a double crochet instead of a half double crochet will work just fine. And you see when you're working into the front loops only, it makes it kind of stick straight out instead of go down. And when you flip it upside down, you can still see all of your back loops, which you will need after this row. So that's what we're looking like. Remember, we're doing a single crochet, 2 half doubles, and then in the next stitch we're doing a slip stitch, and we're going to do that all the way around, and I'll meet you right back here. Okay, I am working my last ruffle, so single crochet, 2 doubles, and then this is the last stitch right here. This is our seam, so a slip stitch into the last stitch. And then what I like to do at this part, kind of looks like almost like an ice cream cone at this point. What I like to do at this part, instead of slip stitching back into that first stitch, I chain 1 from my slip stitch, and I go into that first back loop, and I pull up a loop, and I start working in my back loops. So this is a decrease. That is what we're going to do all the way around the back loops. So I'm going to go ahead and do the first one and just kind of show you, and then I'll explain it because the first one's a little bit difficult. Okay, so we got that, and see, it makes a seamless appearance right there. So let me fold these down so you can see. A decrease, you're going to go into that stitch, pull up a loop, and go straight into the next stitch and pull up a loop. And then you're going to yarn over and pull through all of them. So it's a single crochet decrease. So instead of just pulling up a loop, yarning over and pulling through, you're pulling up a loop, going to the next stitch, pulling up a loop, yarning over and going through all of them. So all the way around here, you're going to have decreases, which is going to make this hole small, and it's going to make the bottom of this flat. Before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do the safety eyes. So when I'm looking at this little guy with his ruffles, really you can place your eyes wherever you want, use whatever size eyes you want. If you want him to have humongous eyes and be super kawaii cute, you can do that. That's what I love about this guy. If you're making this size, I can spit one out in probably 15 to 20 minutes. Yours might take a little bit longer if you're a beginner, but he's perfect for beginners and all levels of crocheters, honestly, and you can make him as unique as you want. So I usually go for, so this is my last row of singles. This is the one above that, and this is the one above that. So you can see the lines between. So I'm not going to go between the last 2 rows. I'm going to go up 1 row, just so his eyes are not like flat against his ruffles. And then I just kind of look at him. I don't have a set number that I do. I just kind of go ahead and place the eyes where I think they should go, adjust them and look at them. If they look fine to me, then I go ahead and add the backs. You can just play around with it as much as you want until you think that he looks as adorable as you want him to look. and that they're in the perfect spot for you. And then you just go ahead and add the backs. If you do his eyes up higher, you can also add, say you go up one row, you could also add a little V-shaped mouth in there if you would want to. Really anything you want to do to make him your own. And by the way, when you finish him, if you want to show me, post him on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, anything. My username on those is Sadie's Nook, and on TikTok I have an underscore between Sadie and Nook, so that one would be Sadie's underscore Nook. You can post and tag me in it. I would love to see what y'all come up with. So now we're back to this row. You just keep doing the decreases all the way around. So we have 24 for this size. So when we finish, it should be 12. If you have a bigger size you're making, it will be different. So if it's 42 and you decrease, it'll be half of 42. But you won't just continue to do rows of decreases if you're doing a humongous one, because that will make it shrink in too much. So what I usually do is I'll do the first row in decreases and say like I'm at 42 and I decrease it to, or I'm at 30. I do decreases all the way around. Well, that would be 15. Okay, so if you did 30, you did decreases all the way around to get 15. I then usually would just do like a row where I do just a single crochet and then a decrease. Just kind of break it up like that so that it's not too drastic of a decrease. But you can kind of just judge, because honestly, if I had 15 and then I decreased it another row, it would still pretty much give me the same effect. So it would have to really be a big one to change that. So my camera cut out, but all I did was add some stuffing. I still have my 12 decreases. So on this row, what we're going to do, we're going to go, it's a little bit more complicated that it has stuffing in it now, but we're going to go into the front loops of our project and do decreases all the way around. So our front loops, and just start decreasing. Try not to pick up too much stuffing. This part will be hidden a little bit, so if you pick up a little bit and it looks like that, you don't have to feel like you have to fix it too much, because this part will be hidden, but we're just decreasing all the way around again, but just going into those, sorry, the back loops. If I said front loops, I'm not sure. I had a little brain fart there. But just into all the back loops again. Try not to pick up too much stuffing, but it does happen. You pick up a little bit of stuffing because your project's so small and you're working into those little back loops. And when you work into the back loops, what it does is gives you a post to add your little tentacles to. So a lot of people will call him an octo when he's done, has all the long tentacles. I just call him a jelly. I think it looks more like a jellyfish, but I guess he could be both. A lot of people at my market say octo. When I make my octos, I literally just, they look like this. That is like the finished octo right there. And then I add the little tentacle things for the jellies. So after you have your 6 decreases, I'll slip stitch back into the first decrease. And normally this is where you would like fasten off and like use your tail to close that hole. I had a lot right there, I just wanted to fix a little bit. This is also why it's important not to overstuff your projects. I love just the little squishiness of them. But usually you would just cut your tail and you like just weave in to this hole and close the hole. But for the tentacles, we're actually going to keep it in one piece. So what I then do is I slip stitch into this first bar, which would now be the front loop. So it's the front loops all the way around. You're going to slip stitch into all of those. And if you feel like you're getting too many, when at the end of it, because what we're going to do, we're going to chain and then work back up the chain. So instead of slip stitching into this one, you can slip stitch into the next one. So just skip one if you feel like you're making too many legs, or if your project's bigger, so you would have more than 12 little tentacles. I actually don't even usually put the 12. I usually will switch between each one and then like skipping one, but whatever you prefer. And if you want him to have really long tentacles, you can chain up as many as you would like. They will spiral out as you go back down them. For this one, I'm going to chain 15. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So then you're going to start into the second chain from your hook, and you're just going to put 2 single crochets. If you want his legs super tight spiraled, you will put 2 single crochets into every chain back up the leg. If you want it more of a loose spiral, you'll do like a few chains that have 2 single crochets in them, and then you'll do like one with just 1 single crochet, and then you'll start the 2 single crochets again, and then the 1, and then the 2 again, and then the 1. So really it's just all up to how you want him to look. I usually do 3 or 4 of the 2 single crochets, and then so that was 3, and then the next one I'll just do 1. So then for the next 3 or 4, I'll put 2 single crochets in all of them. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the next one I'll just put 1 single crochet, and that makes it still spiral, but it's not super tight. So then for the rest of them, except for the very last one, I am going to put 2, and then on the very last one, I always just put 1 single crochet in that one. So let's finish this one. Then our last one. Okay, so here's the tentacle so far. What I'm going to do is go into this very next front loop and just slip stitch. Like I said, if you want him to have more or less of these little spiral tentacles, you can, if you want less, you can, instead of doing into the next one, you can skip one and go into this one. And because they're single crochets, it really doesn't make much of a difference in the look of it. It'll just make it where there's less of the tentacles. So for this one, I'm just going to go straight into the next one, and then just start and slip stitch it into there and just start chaining 15 again. $11, $12, $13, $14, $15. You see how much they shrink. So you're just going to do that all the way around. You can chain as much or as little as you want to make his legs longer or shorter. Remember, they will shrivel up. If you do 2 single crochets into each stitch instead of adding the 1 in between, it will be more spiral and it will shrink up more. And you can add as many or as little legs as you want. I'm gonna go ahead and go around and just finish up all my legs. And I will meet you back on the last leg.